Okay, it's Africa's largest economy and by far its most populous country. But for the past few years, Nigeria has had no national airline. Let me say that again. No national airline. Nigerian Airways closed in 2003 after years of mismanagement and large debts. Air Nigeria closed in 2012 after going through various different owners. Richard Branson even tried and failed to run a Virgin-branded carrier there. So Air Nigeria is dead. Long live Nigeria Air. That's the name the government has picked for the new national carrier. Now, earlier, Nigeria's aviation minister told me this time things will be different, he promises. I asked him how the new airline can avoid repeating those mistakes of the past.
In the Western Central Africa region, transportation by air seems to be the only option. And within the country of Nigeria, 923,766 square kilometers of landmass do need this service of air transportation. In the past, the sector has been bedeviled by lots of issues, but amongst them, the most prominent is issues of governance. And we intend to look at that and ensure that it has not hindered the progress of this airline.
And so let's deal with the governance part of this. You know, a lot of Nigerians are still skeptical about this, especially given the fact that the government will still be involved.
At the tail end of the 70s to early 80s, government decided to liberalize the sector of air transportation and allowed the private sector to come in Nigeria. And we saw the coming of several airlines, most of which were privately owned by individuals who may not necessarily have the expertise to run airlines. Some of them may have been owned or run by pilots or engineers. And the fact that you're a pilot and engineer does not necessarily make you the best manager of airline. So the capacity of managers of airlines was not at the level that is expected to run these airlines efficiently in most cases. Quite a few examples or exceptions to that, but largely due to issues of governance and lack of capital made these airlines not to be able to give the desired service. And as government, we have the social and moral responsibility to provide efficient, safe and secure air transportation. And realizing that air transportation is a connector and enabler of businesses. It connects people and trade and markets, and also between nations and other nations, and it catalyzes the economy, and then multiplier effect of it is astronomical.
So is Ethiopian Airlines a part of this? Are they a model for this in any way?
We will create a hub in Nigeria, and we thank God that Nigeria is centrally located in the region and also in the world. We are at the center of the world. We are the best situation and best opportunity to create a hub, and we will create a hub. So in that respect, yes, we will create a hub, and I'm sure the Nigerian hub would do much better than other hubs in the region because we are more centrally located. Whether Ethiopian Airlines will be a part of it, we are talking to so many airlines, including Ethiopian Airlines, and we have not concluded on any.
And we're going to pick up this conversation with Zain Asher, who is the host of Marketplace Africa. I mean, Zain...
And a Nigerian myself.
A Nigerian yourself, which is important to note because all I had to do was a very quick check of Nigerians on social media, and they were entirely cynical about this, and they have reason to be, don't they?
I know. Listen, Paula, as a Nigerian myself, I would love to be optimistic. I'm the first person to tell you that I would actually love to have an airline in my country to be proud of, a national carrier to be proud of. However, you know, you talked about this. When you look at the history, when you look at the number of airlines, both private and public, that have failed in our country, there is a cycle of failure. So it's all well and good for the minister to sort of get on stage and announce in front of the media that there's going to be this massive new airline. But if you don't address some of the underlying issues that have brought us to failure in the first place, it's all going to end in tears.
And I want to deal with that one issue, which he mentioned. He said governance, but it's clear and utter corruption, right? What's the problem?
Yeah, well, it's governance, it's mismanagement, it's poor leadership, it is nepotism, but there's also issues when it comes to the passenger's experience as well, because it's not just about being able to make ends meet, it's also about having the airline being able to thrive. The last time I was in Nigeria, just last year, I was traveling from Lagos back to America. My flight was delayed 3 hours because I got to the airport and there was literally no electricity. So the entire airport was basically pitch black, and they had to look at my passport, check my passport using flashlights. Sometimes they do it with the light from the mobile phone. Sometimes flights are delayed because pilots just don't show up to work on time and there's no consequence. Sometimes flights are delayed because literally there's not enough passengers, so they delay the flight, hoping and praying there'll be more passengers that show up to the airport. And, you know, and sometimes they will combine two different flights going to two different destinations into the same flight and then just drop people off along the way like an Uber pool.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm not even joking. Like
I know that you're not. I know.
So it's not just about the financial aspects of it, obviously the debt, the foreign exchange issues. It's also about infrastructure. It's also about cultural issues as well. And so Nigerians really have to put their foot down and say, listen, we will not accept this type of service in our airline any longer.
Okay, now one thing that has been talked about is the fact that the government is on the front foot here. Now, I asked the aviation minister, I said, where are the private investors? Because everybody would have more confidence.
Listen.
Do you think that this has something more to do with political timing? And
honestly, oh my gosh, I don't want to be pessimistic because it's my country and I love my country so much. I don't want to be pessimistic, but people have been saying that, you know, you can question the timing of all of this because it's launching in December, 2 months before a national election. And you look at it and you ask yourself, well, who are the sort of private investors? Number one, is it already a registered entity? Does it already have a license to operate? Where are the offices going to be? Have they started recruitment? There's not even a website. There's not even a website or a domain address for this airline.
And they say they're launching in December.
Exactly. And that's, what is that, 5 months? 5 months from now? So I don't know. I don't want to be pessimistic, though, because I really, really want this airline to succeed.
Quickly before we go, and I know this is totally imbued with a lot of politics as well, but Ethiopian Airlines has had a lot of luck, a lot of great management, and they really are basically challenging what it means to be an African airline, especially with some of the hub activity that they've taken into Addis Ababa. Does that give you hope?
Well, when you look at Ethiopia Airlines, it is entirely sort of government-owned, but it's private-run. And when I ask people, listen, well, you know, you mentioned all these issues plaguing Nigeria, but Ethiopian Airlines has done so well. Why is that?
Right.
People just talk about leadership. They talk about leadership. Nigeria, unfortunately, has a massive problem when it comes to corruption. When it comes to, I mean, small things like anybody who is associated with the government or knows a government minister automatically thinks that they should be able to fly for free. Always. And obviously that's not going to ruin an airline. It's not big enough to ruin an airline.
But it's not good for business.
But it's not good for business. And so you have to look at Ethiopia Airlines as a role model just in terms of leadership and management.
Got you. Zain, I know you will be the first one at this desk, either anchoring or reporting to say, go Nigeria Air.
I love my country and I want it to succeed. And I really want to emphasize that. So.
Good. And you'll be here if that happens and here as well if it doesn't. So.